Welcome back, guys. So if you've been watching my other videos, you will know why this is currently the view we've got from the garage again. Now this had its clutch changed over the winter and it hasn't been as successful as we'd hoped. So I'm guessing I've made an error somewhere. Some people have suggested there's a brass bushing in the flywheel. I've caught that maybe with the input shaft and it's grabbing. So the symptoms are in gears 1 and 2 getting a grinding going in and out of gear. Obviously 3 and 4 on these have the synchro on them, so it's less of a problem on those. But yeah, I'm having the grinding issue on 1 and 2, so it can be potentially that brass bushing. I've got a new slave cylinder, so I'm going to change that just in case there's something going on with that. I've got a new flexi hose that goes from the solid hose down to the slave cylinder, just in case there's, you know, the wall of that is broken down and there's some issue there. So yeah, I guess if we've got to maybe diagnose it first, have a look. I've had some difficulty diagnosing this one. I'm not an expert mechanic. If you've seen the videos, you know that. So I'm gonna take out the floor in the Land Rover again. There's a little inspection plate in the sort of bell housing. I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to have a look, see what the clutch is doing and see if I can get to the bottom of it. So first things first, basically all this that I spent ages putting back in has to come out. One of the things I've got a lot better at since doing this is actually labelling and bagging where all the bolts come from. So if a bolt can't go back in from where it came from, it goes in a bag. I learned this quite early on. I thought I'd remember where things went and it was a nightmare trying to remember where all these different bolts went. So this system seems to work really well. Okay, making a whole load of progress now. That's the floor out. I opted to take the seat box out as well to give me more space, so lesson learnt from last time. So when I'm bringing the gearbox out and down, then I'm not messing about and working over the top of the seat box. And it'll give me a chance to clean up a bit in here, put some paint on the tops of these chassis rails. It's been a while since I've had anything. So yeah, we've still got to undo all the bell housing, take off the slave cylinder and the prop shafts there and there. But look, this is the movement I'm getting. Let me just see if I can get a light on here as well. Right, if you watch that, that's me pushing the clutch pedal down. That's all the movement. I don't even know if you getting in there. So I don't know if it's an issue that the clutch just isn't disengaging enough from that, or I will take it off because I do want to check that brass bush in the flywheel to see if I've damaged that at all. So yeah, it's unfortunate and it's frustrating because I've obviously already done this. When you look through the other videos, I've been in here and done this recently. I didn't expect to be back in here so soon, but yeah, this mistake's quite costly, unfortunately. So what I figured is while this seat box here is out, it's perfect time to give it a good freshen up. I mean, you can see it's been a bit tatty now, so I want to respray these seat bases in black. So I'm just unbolting them now, working my way through all these bolts here, and then scrape all this old sealant off the back here and give this another coat of deep bronze green. Hopefully that'll look a bit fresher going and back in the car. It's not often you get these out, so figured I might as well do it. And it's raining out on the drive, so hiding in here out of the way just gives me an excuse to get this done. So yeah, guys, 2 seat frames off, so we give them a freshen up now. And then this is rather minging on the underside, but I'm not too concerned about that. We want to get this side looking a bit sharper. Okay, end of day 1, and we've just flashed over this with some nice new deep bronze green. It's not a brilliant job, but then I'm not a painter. And we've also done these little panels, the one that goes around the handbrake, and the seat base is in black. And this is kind of cleaned up, as good as it's going to be. It's all going to be hidden anyway in here. So all the floors out, ready for the gearbox to come out again. Yay, my old friend. Right, we're into our second day on this thing now. It's windy, it's rainy, you can see out there. It's not the most pleasant day to be on the driver working, but workshops and ramps are for wimps, right? So we can get stuck in, remove the prop shafts, remove the speedo drive. I'm still waiting for the postman to bring our new clutch flexi pipe. We've got the save cylinder there, so I'm hoping I can get this off, have a look at that brass bush, if that's okay, back together. And it's more of it's a clutch pedal issue if it's not that. So yeah, I think I'll just crack on. I'm just gonna get this speedo drive out. I swear I should have been a gymnast. It's just 3 little, really small 8mm bolts holding this in, a little collar. Should pull out of there and put from there. There we go. So gearbox is back off for the second time in as many months, and now I've had a chance to check this brass bushing. Okay, well, gearbox is all off now, so we've got back to the flywheel. See the little brass bushing in there, this bigger bush, and there is not a lot wrong with it at all. So it's good and bad news, because it means I've done all this for nothing, but it's not that. So it must be the clutch sleeve master or the flexi line. So never mind. Oh well, a lot of work for nothing. Well, we know now the brass spigot bush is fine, which is great, but also I'm not sure what it is now. So I'm kind of, I was hoping there'd be something obvious and that would point out the fault to me. I've dived in here not really knowing what it is. I haven't really diagnosed the fault fully, other than I know it's a clutch issue. So because I replaced the clutch and the pressure plate, I've kind of gone right back to first principles, taken the whole gearbox out to check that little brass bushing. But that's absolutely fine. So I've now put the pressure plate, the clutch back in, the pressure plate back in, everything's torqued back up. So I'm at a point where I can put the gearbox back in. I've checked the clutch release bearing, that's all working lovely. I've cleaned it up, I've cleaned up the bell housing. So now we are firmly in the realm of part starts, which I don't like being, because it can get, you can end up doing a lot of work for no real reason, and it can end up costing a lot of money. The only good thing is there's not many parts in the system. So at the moment I've got an LOF sort of upgraded, as they call it, master cylinder. It then goes through a fixed pipe down to flexi pipe, and then the slave cylinder. So I've got a replacement slave cylinder and I've got a replacement flexi pipe. So I'm hoping like one of those may be the issue. That would be great. If it's not, I think I do have the old master cylinder that I took out and replaced the LOF from with, so I could always put that back in. Maybe I have to find it. I hope I've kept it. Otherwise I'll order a new one, and then I think that's every part in the chain of the clutch has been changed, and this shouldn't be a reason why it's not working. So yeah, I'm kind of just gonna change parts out now until the fault gets rectified. So yeah, wish me luck. We have our new slave cylinder, our new flexi pipe, the old push rod with the new rubber cap on. So we're going to replace all this. I don't know if there's a fault with the old one, but as I can't find a fault with that, anything else on the clutch, this is where we're playing part starts a little bit. So we'll start with this, change this section out. I'm going to leave the LOF master cylinder on for now. I've just drained it of fluid so that we don't get fluid spilling everywhere while I put this on. And then while I've got good access, we'll adjust this section here to the right length, and then just see what the movement's like on that sort of arm that activates the release bearing. So let's go and pop this on the car. I'll get the old one off first. So it's in a little bit of an awkward spot to get at. So it's just down here. So I've loosened off this top union here, and then we've got to undo 13mm and 15mm either side of this little angle bracket to take the flexi out down here. So that's it, new flexi pipe in, union done up here, it's bolted up to the bracket there. Oh, sorry, a bit shaky. So now, yeah, we're down to the slave cylinder down there to do the rest. But it's decided to start pissing down, which is not great. So slave cylinder just dropped sort of loosely into its place here. So I'll just get the 2 bolts and bolt them up, and then we can start putting this push rod business back in here and see if we can get this to go up and down. Fingers crossed for this. Okay, I stood quite snug inside the Land Rover. This is like better than the workshop. So stood through the floor, just peeing down outside. If you can hear it on the tin roof. I'm stood in here. So we got the slave cylinder bolted back in. I've just got to nip up the flexi hose on the top, but I don't want to run to the garage right now because of said weather. So I'm going to go down there in a minute. So whilst I'm in here in my nice little dry cocoon, I can try and get this speedo drive. It just goes in here. So it's 3 sort of 8mm bolts that go around this retaining plate here and just hold this square drive here into the gearbox there. So I can just, even if I can just get them done loosely for now, it'll be something. It's another job that needs doing. I think I've still got then the prop shafts to do back up. Get the the push rod onto the slave cylinder and get that bled up. I think the rain is meant to stop this afternoon, so I should be able to get in the dry and work again. So just trying to make the most of it, because like I say, Bicester Scramble is coming up next weekend. I really want to take this along, and I can't if it doesn't work. Let's see if, there we go. Drop that in there. Like those of you who've got a series Land Rover will know as well, these speedo drives aren't exactly accurate. It kind of just gives you a ballpark figure of probably plus or minus about 20 miles an hour. Obviously that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. It fluctuates, jumps around all over the place. There's my little clutch bleeding setup. So got one of these 90-degree elbows there. My clear pipe into my little jar with a little bit of brake fluid in the bottom. I've topped up the master cylinder, so time to crack this and pump the clutch pedal and see what comes through. So after refitting the master cylinder down there, flexi pipe up to this one, realised that when you pump the clutch, nothing is pushing through from the master cylinder. You take this all the way off, nothing, so it's just not going through there. This is fucked, which I'm disappointed in, because this was an expensive LOF clutch as well. When someone on the forums did say this was a bit gimmicky, he's probably right. So we've just taken it off, cleaned it up, put it back on, and still nothing. So I've ordered a Borg and Beck one. That should be arriving by next weekend. Means I'm not going to make it to Bicester Scramble in this, which is disappointing. Yeah, so basically, if you see these LOF master cylinders, I would steer clear of them, because that has only been on the car a few years, and it's shot already. So yeah, really disappointing, but this now needs replacing, changing master cylinder, and then the whole clutch system is done. But yeah, not impressed with LOF. Okay, so the LOF master cylinder we think is got a problem, so I've ordered up this Borg and Beck replacement. Now this one should be off a 90 or series 3, because I'll show you now. When we changed to the LOF master cylinder, it had its own integral reservoir, so we had to get rid of the bean cam that was on there. So I don't want to go back and do all that work again, so I had to get one with an integral reservoir on there, or just use a remote reservoir. So I've gone for this one, so hopefully this fits the bill and does the job. We will be investigating the LOF master cylinder and just seeing why that isn't working, but for now we're going to pop this one on the car and see if this solves all our clutch woes. Right, so that is now, oh what's happened there? Oh yeah, the master cylinder is now back in place on there, the new one, Borg and Beck one. So I took off the pipe that comes from the master cylinder down here, so we'll just refit that now. This fixed pipe. So what we've done is trim down these sort of shoulders off the spanner on these ones, so it actually fits in the pedal box a bit neater. It's still a bit of a squeeze, but yeah, I've taken the bulk of the material off the side, so that when it fits in there, and you can actually get to the nut a little bit better. So yeah, you kind of got to adapt your tools, I guess, to get them to work for you. So I don't know if the light's going to be great. Here we go. This rod had to be adjusted with this in its down, this cross shaft in its down position. I'd originally done it in the pushed up position, and then the measurement from the top of this plate here to the to the bottom of that lower bolt there is, I think, 73.4 millimeters, which are set with the calipers, and then you adjust this one down. So at the moment, because it's a new clutch, it's at its maximum. So now when I press the clutch, it's got some real, see if I can hold that still and film at the same time. So it's really pushing and disengaging that, so that's all good. It's only taken a new slave cylinder, a new flexi hose, oops, and then the new Borgenbeck master cylinder. This to be adjusted, oops, so that the pedal distance go back in here. So the distance from there to here, I've allowed for when the floor plate's in as well, is 140 millimeters. So now everything in there should be working. So we've got to go through, put it all back together, and then fingers crossed it flipping runs this time. So I can empty out the old oil from the old bath air filter. Not too bad, there's a bit of a dirt in there, a bit of a tinge. I don't think it matters what type of oil you put in here, because it's not actually doing any lubricating, it's just filtering out the muck. And there's quite a bit in there. Let's pour this last bit in. You can see the little bits of dirt coming out with it, so it must be working. Right, I think that's clean enough. So there is a line in here. So filter this line here, exact level it says. So we've got some old 10W40. Let's just check it. Is it good stuff? Yeah. Looks like it's got to go into the middle as well. Let's fill that up. There we go. That's fresh oil. I'll put the filtery bit back in. Back on and clamp down the clamps. And voila! It just had an absolute shocker. I've kind of crashed the Land Rover into the garage and the bonnet, which I'll show you now. So I started it to just check the clutch was working. Didn't realise it didn't have the handbrake because I've disconnected that, completely forgot, and shot forward. So I managed to drive it into the bonnet there, and if you can see here, I've grazed all down the wing here. So let's see if I can get around it. Yeah, down the way there. That's where it's driven over the top of the wheel mount. Here, I've just moved the bonnet to get it back a bit. It rode over the chocks. I put it on there, came straight over the top of those, no trouble at all. Luckily, it wasn't worse. I mean, it could have come right the way back in here, but I managed to get my foot on the brake pedal before. But it's difficult without any seats in there. You're kind of in an odd position anyway. So yeah, a couple of grazes. I'll take that for that one. But there's an important lesson learnt there. That's it, back on the road. It feels great to drive it again, especially as it was such a beautiful day. There are a couple of tweaks to do, but I'm hopeful that I can get plenty of motoring in whilst I complete these. And of course, I'll document these as I go along. If you've reached this far and you've enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.